They say you can take the country out of the boy, but you can't take the boy out of the... No, that's not right. Also, I'm not from the country. But I do live in the city, and I am going camping with my moth. To you live from inside the Zero to Awesome space capsule. I'll be honest, we might have gotten a little carried away with our most recent project. Actually, no, I'm not in a spaceship. I'm safely on the ground. My husky and I will give you a tour tomorrow morning of what this little Taxa Tiger Moth is like. But for now, it is in the 40s outside. It is windy and gusting between 20 and 30 miles an hour. In here, my husky and I, we're gonna have some snacks, we're gonna maybe watch some Netflix, and we're gonna snooze the night away. Actually, one of us is already snoozing the night away, so I'll turn the lights off and let her get back to sleep. Breakfast has been had. I'm mostly awake. As I promised last night, we're going to take a tour of the Moth now that it is daylight and it's nice out and not windy. And actually, the day to go home is the nicest weather we've had. First things first, let's convert the Moth from sleepy mode to day mode or party mode. So right now we have this nice full-size to queen-size bed, which actually folds away so we can hang out in here if there's bad weather or if you just want to chill. And we made it back to day mode. That's one of the reasons I think the Moth could be a little bit better designed. When you're in sleepy mode, you can't really get to anything. You're on top of all your clothes, you're on top of all your storage, but it is small. You do have a full-size bed in there, and you do have a lot of storage. So a couple features of the Moth. Everything, as you just saw when we unfolded it, is incredibly modular, and there's lots of storage space. In here we have my hot water heater, my shower set up, extra paper towels. I usually store my camp chairs in here. I actually added this little compartment. It wasn't in there originally. I cut a hole, framed it out, and so this is stuff I can just get to quickly, like flashlights and tent stakes and things I really need when I'm setting stuff up. Now I'm very in demand these days. Over here we have even more storage. I'll throw camp chairs in here. Right now I've got the sleeping pad. These cushions aren't too terribly comfortable, so I just got a memory foam mattress topper to sleep on. And actually in here is the deep cycle battery, which we'll just unscrew and open it up. So all of your electronics are nice and tucked away. And then we have a little bit more storage up front. Cubby holes, typically where I just stash my clothes that I'm going to use the next day or the next couple days, so I don't have to get down into the storage. We have our electrical panel and breakers, pretty easy to get to for when you blow a breaker. I've actually never blown a breaker. 12-volt outlet, 110 outlets, or 120, 110, yeah, 100 something. House style power outlets. These actually don't work off the 12-volt battery. There's not an inverter. You have to be plugged into shore power for those to work. This thing is very modular. Rumor has it was actually designed by one of the engineers who worked on the space station, and they took a lot of styling cues from that, which is why you have tie downs everywhere. You can turn the bed into something else. You can get a lot of space out of actually a little bit of space. And it's also really efficient. The battery, without charging it, without putting it on solar or shore power, is supposed to last you up to a week. Everything, all the lights are LED, We have a porch light outside. We have a big main strip in here that lightens the whole thing up. And we even have some red lights up front for nighttime mode. One of my favorite things about the Moth is actually the windows. I've seen them on other campers, so they're not incredibly special, but they put in really, really nice windows. They have multiple ways to tie them down. You can close them all the way. You can lock them down into a B setting, so you have a little bit of a vent.
So many options.
Editing.
Too many options.
And really, I think the coolest thing is the shades. If you want privacy, maybe you got to put on a new pair of pants. You just pull it all the way down. If you want air to come through, but you don't want bugs, you can slide it up. Or depending on how much privacy you want, how much air you want, you can change between super private and everyone can see your butt. So every window in here is like that, and it's actually really, really, really convenient. And there's many doors for days. All the doors also have deadbolts on them, so you can keep people out or people in, I suppose. And one of the cool space-saving features of the Moth is actually the kitchen. This is your little kitchenette. It's modular. It comes with all sorts of different dividers, so you can spice it up depending on what you want to store inside. And your little panels store over here. So I've got it set up with a supplies and cooking area, kind of a gear, equipment, lighters, rope, trash bags area, and then pots and pans, coffee makers. It's really neat that you can use your countertop or even use your cutting board and just slide it around. Oh, I need the stove, or oh, I need the coffee maker because it's really early in the morning.
So what about this right here? Isn't that a little inaccurate? Isn't it? Doesn't Bob rule on the Moth rules?
You know, I think actually that was put on by the manufacturer, which means it's
what a terrible manufacturer
and approved by
no,
the state.
That's just wrong. Bob rules, Moth rules.
Disagree to disagree. Our little back porch light out here, it could use probably some more lighting on the outside. It might be a good idea to maybe put some brighter lights up on the roof rack, but it does the job. It provides light down onto the kitchen, and it's orange, so it's not going to blind you in the middle of the night. Another 12-volt outlet out here. Not really a lot going on this side. It would be nice to have an extra door on this side, so one of the things I have to think about a lot coming to a campsite is, hey, where do I want my door to open? It requires a lot of finagling. You can't just back in and have access on either side. So another door would be handy, not a deal breaker. This model has a window right here. Some models that came out later actually deleted this window and put a air conditioner unit here, just a window air conditioner unit. I don't really like that because you lose a window, so you have less light, and also you have this unit hanging off the side. So what I have is a model where you have a window here. It's one of the same nice windows, holds open, double insulated with vents so it doesn't fog up. And instead, I use a Climate Right air conditioner. It sits up on the tongue. It has a hose that goes in here for return air, a hose that goes in here for cold air, and it's actually a heat pump, so it's 5,000 BTUs, super efficient, and it heats and cools. Then there's a remote control for it inside, so you can set the thermostat to whatever you want and just lounge peacefully. Spare tire. Unlike some people I know who build campers, like the cameraman right now, I've never had to use my spare tire. Toolbox.
They're made to be used.
No, never touch the ground. Nice and fresh, nice and fresh. I did move the tongue box forward about 6 inches. It had a little storage step right here, which was too narrow to actually fit a cooler or fit my air conditioner. So I just added some aluminum so it wouldn't rest and moved the toolbox as far forward as I could get. Toolbox is super handy. It'll hold all your towing equipment. It'll hold your shore power connectors. It'll hold really anything that gets messy, dirty, and you don't want to keep inside. And it's also nice and watertight. This thing has been in many rainstorms, down many wet roads, and everything stays nice and dry. Another little special modification, added a level to the front so I can tell if I'm going to sleep and roll downhill or if I'm going to sleep and be level. we have a built-in roof rack. This thing in theory will hold 200 pounds. I've actually thrown my air conditioner up here, an easy up here, and I've stood on it before to get into the roof rack. The roof rack is just a generic Thule, I think is the brand roof rack. So there's tons of bike racks, kayak racks, all sorts of things you can throw on it. I just have a cargo bin up there that I usually throw my chairs and things like that in. One thing I really like about the Moth, and one reason I bought the Moth rather than building my own camper, is that it is all aluminum and all foam. And that means completely dry. Before I load it up, it weighs less than 1,000 pounds. So I could tow it with a small car. I could maybe tow it with my Volkswagen. Link in the description below for the build on the Volkswagen. But it weighs almost nothing. When it's hooked up to the Jeep, which can tow a couple thousand pounds, you don't even know it's there. And it's also light enough that you can push it around by hand. In the storage unit I keep it in, I can push it by hand. Last night when I was stuck in a monsoon, we were able to pull it out by hand without having to get a truck in there. That is my Taxa Tiger Moth, my tiny little camper. I love it. We've had a lot of fun together. It's super easy to hook up, get out there, have some fun, sleep comfortably, especially if it's raining and cold like it was last night. But the weekend is over and it's time to get home. Juno, did he not get you any coffee? She's gonna be grumpy.